Tonight, when the sun goes down, nothing will really change. Your lights will turn on. Your phone will keep glowing. Your city will stay awake. But 10,000 years ago, sunset was one of the most dangerous moments of the entire day. Because when the last light disappeared from the sky, humanity entered a completely different world. A world without electricity, without streetlights, without locked doors, without alarms, without any guarantee that morning would come. Imagine standing outside 10,000 years ago. The sun slowly sinks below the horizon. The sky turns orange, then purple, then black, and suddenly, the world changes. The familiar landscape disappears. The trees become shadows. The hills become silhouettes. Every sound becomes louder. Every movement becomes suspicious. And every human instinct starts screaming the same message. Be careful. Today, darkness feels harmless. You know that a light switch is only a few steps away. Your ancestors had no such comfort. For them, darkness was real. The kind of darkness most modern humans have never experienced. No glowing cities on the horizon, no headlights, no illuminated windows. Only the faint light of the moon and stars. And sometimes not even that. Can you imagine it? Standing in complete darkness. Unable to see more than a few feet ahead. Hearing strange noises all around you. Knowing that something could be watching. Something could be hunting. And you would never know until it was too late. This wasn't paranoia. It was reality. Humans were not the kings of the night. Far from it. Big cats hunted at night. Wolves moved through darkness with ease. Hyenas prowled the landscape. Even rival human groups could become a threat. When the sun disappeared, humans lost their greatest advantage, their eyesight. Compared to many predators, human night vision is terrible. A lion could see better. A wolf could hear better. An owl could detect movement better. For a few hours every night, humans became vulnerable, and vulnerability changes behavior. That's why sunset wasn't simply the end of the day. It was a transition, a signal, a warning. The world that existed during daylight was gone. Now survival required different rules. And this is where something remarkable happened. Instead of trying to conquer the darkness, humans learned to gather together. As night approached, people returned to camp. Families reunited, groups became circles. And at the center of those circles burned one of humanity's greatest discoveries: fire. Today, a campfire feels ordinary. 10,000 years ago, it felt miraculous. Fire pushed back darkness. Fire provided warmth. Fire scared away predators. Fire cooked food. But perhaps its greatest gift was something else entirely. It gave humans extra time. For the first time in evolutionary history, people could remain active after sunset. Not as hunters, not as gatherers, but as thinkers, as storytellers, as dreamers. And those extra hours may have changed humanity forever, because once people sat around a fire, something unexpected happened. They started talking. Not about immediate survival, not about where berries were growing, not about fixing tools. Something different happened. Stories appeared. Stories about heroes. Stories about monsters. Stories about ancestors. Stories about mysterious things hidden beyond the darkness. At first glance, storytelling sounds like entertainment, but it was much more than that. A story could teach a lesson. A story could warn children about danger. A story could preserve knowledge. A story could unite an entire group. Long before books existed, stories were libraries. Entire generations passed knowledge from one mind to another through words alone. Think about how incredible that is. No paper, no writing, no internet. Yet information survived for centuries. All because people gathered around fires after sunset and listened. And some scientists believe these nighttime conversations helped shape the human mind itself. Because storytelling requires imagination. You must picture things that aren't physically present. You must imagine people, places, events, possibilities. And imagination became one of humanity's greatest strengths. The ability to think beyond the present moment allowed humans to plan, cooperate, and eventually build civilizations. In a strange way, some of the foundations of modern society may have been built around ancient campfires. But storytelling was only the beginning, because as the night grew darker, another force began to take over: the human mind itself. As the flames crackled in the darkness, something strange happened inside the human brain. The world became quieter, slower, smaller, and yet the mind became bigger. During the day, survival demanded attention. Food had to be found, water had to be collected, tools had to be repaired, children had to be protected. There was always something urgent, something immediate, something physical. But after sunset, those distractions faded, and for perhaps the first time all day, humans had space to think. Really think. Imagine sitting beside a fire 10,000 years ago. The stars stretch across the sky. The flames dance in front of you. The sounds of the wilderness echo in the distance. There is nothing to scroll, nothing to watch, nothing demanding your attention, only your thoughts. What happens when a human mind is left alone with its thoughts? Something powerful. Modern psychologists call it mind wandering. The brain begins connecting ideas, replaying memories, imagining possibilities, asking questions, and asking questions changes everything. What are those lights in the sky? Why do seasons change? Where does lightning come from? Why do people die? Questions like these may have been asked thousands of times around ancient campfires. Nobody knew the answers. But curiosity had already been born. And curiosity is one of the most dangerous forces in the universe. Because once humans start asking questions, they rarely stop. Every civilization, every invention, every scientific discovery started with someone wondering why. And night gave people time to wonder. But darkness also created something else. Fear. Real fear. Imagine hearing a twig snap beyond the firelight. Everyone becomes silent. Nobody knows what caused the sound. A predator? Another human group? Or nothing at all? The problem is uncertainty. Your brain hates uncertainty. Even today, a strange noise at midnight feels scarier than the same noise at noon. Have you ever noticed that? A shadow in daylight is just a shadow. A shadow at night feels alive. The reason goes back thousands of years. Your ancestors survived because they paid attention to potential threats. Those who ignored danger often didn't live long enough to pass on their genes. Those who stayed cautious survived. Over thousands of generations, that caution became part of human nature. Which means that even now, sitting safely in your home, a dark room can still trigger ancient instincts. Part of your brain still believes darkness might hide danger. Because for most of human history, it often did. But fear wasn't the only emotion created by the night. There was another feeling,